What's up everybody and welcome back to Exotic Car Hacks, and today do I have a treat for you. And no, it's not what's in my pants, fortunately for you. It is this AMG GT Black Series. That's right, the Black Series review is happening today, and a lot of stuff has been happening. I mean, obviously you can see behind me, there is an incredible collection of cars here, and the collection is growing with additional cars coming this year, even though the year is almost over. I always treat myself around Christmas and buy 2 to 3 exotics. This is the latest one that is here, the AMG GT Black. Now, we briefly talked about this in the kind of preview of the car arriving, and I've now spent about a week or so with the car, have driven it a little bit, and got some great feedback to share with you guys. But before we do that, we actually have taken over this warehouse here, which we're really excited for. No, this is not my personal car, this is actually Hunter's car, this was just sold, but I want to show you guys this warehouse because it's really cool. And what's happening here is you might see all these like crates and stuff. And what we have here, which you guys know right on time for the holidays, is our What Cars Said book. You see, published by Exotic Car Hacks with 21 real car sounds. So if you've been looking for the perfect toy or the perfect book or the perfect gift for kids, then go ahead and share that with people at whatcarsaid.com. We'll put a link in the description, but pick up your copy. And don't forget, of course, that Exotic Car Hacks is having its Black Friday sale right now, which means that if you want to learn how to get in and out of exotic cars and actually make money, there was over $100,000 made on this Ferrari 488 Spider that just sold $100,000 for one of our members. I mean, that's pretty crazy in 4 months, but this is the type of opportunity that exists. But today we are talking about the AMG GT Black Series. So when I last talked about it a little bit, we discussed a little bit the beauty of the car and how incredibly exciting it looks. I mean, just briefly looking at it here, you get a very good view for this insane amount of detail. Look, first off, take a look at the aero. You have this, you have these, you have this. It follows here, again, with these huge vents, with these extra little wind deflectors. Then you have your vents here, vent here, vent here, scoop here. It is bonkers. And when you take a good look at it from far, it just blows your mind on how insane and exotic it looks. And I think it does such a good job at being a Black Series because it really brings out the crazy part of an AMG GT, which is a very subtle and classy car, and it retains that with the headlights, but it just blows up next level with everything else. And it's just brilliant. Now, being so wow factor, I chose to get this silver color because it tones down the craziness of the car. And so usually my rule for speccing a car is if the car is very crazy design, you get a neutral color. Like Lamborghinis and stuff, I get usually neutral colors on SVJs and SVs, but on the smaller Lamborghinis like Huracans and stuff, I get brighter colors to kind of offset the fact that it's not as wow factor as an SVJ or something. In this case though, not many options on this car. There's usually 4 to 5 colors available. All the options are standards. There's about 300, 340 cars in the US, which is a pretty rare car. And this could be the final Black Series ever made that is non-hybrid or non-electric. So it should be very interesting collector grade car in the long term. They're already going for $200,000 over a sticker. So it's pretty amazing. You'll notice following the car, you retain these basic garbage C-Class mirrors. Yeah, this isn't a joke. Same mirrors you'll find in a C63. And then here you'll have a carbon roof. That's beautiful, but I mean, seriously guys, they couldn't fucking do a better job with mirrors. And then here you continue and you have these beautiful S-Class handles that are also available on the E-Class. And this is a fucking outrageous thing again for a $300,000 car. And then you carry on, but you know, the details here in the aero are fantastic because you look at the play on carbon and black, it's just brilliant. But one of the things I want to point you to is if you're looking here at the car, you really see how the aero plays out here with the vents. It's just brilliantly put together with the cooling of the brakes and everything else. It just works flawlessly. So very well done. And then you'll continue to see carbon works and then this air brake along with this double wing, the GT Black Series here, and you'll see this insane diffuser based stuff. But even more incredible is if you look all the way under the diffuser, there's actual active aero under the car, which is pretty crazy. Like there's actually like splitters and stuff running all the underside of the car, which again, unbelievable. Like very, very unique design for aero. I mean, I think they do a really good job at bringing out the fact that the car is aerodynamically fucking crazy, right? Which is fantastic. Now, the exterior of the car, I have no problem with. I actually think the car looks brilliantly put together, minus the fact that you get these shitty mirrors, but we can look past that. The one thing I can't really look past that is these absolutely horrific fucking door handles. And there's a couple of things to be said. I said this in my sneak preview of it. The door handles are completely shit and feel very plasticky, and then most of the time, the door, you see, it doesn't actually close. It takes a lot of hit, just like almost a G-Wagon, but it shouldn't be that way, especially that the door is light. I pointed out the disappointment by Mercedes of giving us these old-ass bullshit keys. The new G63 even has nicer keys, which is bizarre, again. Why, you know, that they bullshit the fact that this might be more because it's iconic and classic versus the fact that I think they just had too many of these shitty C-Class keys and they had nothing to do with them. Now, again, you continue to really be impressed with the design here, and then that's where the fail really occurs, is when you open the door. So, aesthetically, the fail here from the manufacturers, I'm going to tell you. If you look here, again, you're getting some very cheap material followed with, again, the same thing you would get in an old C-Class or E-Class for the buttons. Very disappointing for such a high, low-level production car. Very crappy, but again, you get this. Now, personally, I've owned every car from the Pista to the Senna to everything else which has Alcantara-based interiors. This is by far, to me, one of the cheapest feeling Alcantara interiors that you would find maybe in a Ford Mustang or something. It's just incredibly disappointing for a 300K car. The door seals here continue to be plastic and junk, no different than you would find in a base AMG GT. Very pathetic. And of course, in the US, we don't get the race seats, we get these adjustable seats, which is actually okay because honestly, as a midget that I am, listen, we're not talking about my cock size, we're talking about here the car and my body height, just in case you were wondering. Sitting in the seats actually go up and down, so it makes me feel better and it makes me feel, you know, more masculine about my life because I can actually see over the dashboard. But outside of that, one of the things I'd like to point out is that, again, the material used here on the car is incredibly cheap. It just doesn't have this feeling of a $300,000 car. And the sad part is these cars are like 500,000 plus now, so it's pretty sad to see that. Now, on the inside, we're going to take a close look at the inside, which is some good, some bad, but material and fit and finish is okay, quality is all right. Quality of the fit, garbage. Like the actual flow of everything, there's no real flaw here in the production. It's just that it's not high quality. It doesn't give you a sense of money or excitement, which is pretty weak. Even with the SLS Mercedes, this was a 2010, you know, back in 11, 12, and 13, and 14, the SLS had similar quality, but again, we were talking about a car that was almost 10 years older than this, and at that time, that made sense. This doesn't necessarily make sense. Now, I wanna have you sit inside the car with me to really understand what's happening or not. So I'm gonna let you in, get in on the other side, and we're gonna take a look at the inside of the car real quick, okay? All right, so as you kind of get in, you're instantly kind of like forced to look at the steering wheel, which says Black Series. Looks very similar to the G63, the new G63. Still has the cheap plastic airbag, no big deal. The Alcantara continues throughout the car. And then, of course, you have your engine start, your carbon fiber, everything's standard here. Your traction control button, your climate. The design is overall okay. It's not necessarily bad or good. Some of the little quirks and stuff, like this navigation unit here, very cheap, very poorly placed. You can't even see the home screen here. You have to kind of know that it's there. And then this, the shifter, it just doesn't work, but it's fine. Like, it's something that you can make work, but it's fine for now. Like, that's where it is. It's not necessarily good or bad. You use the paddles, you know, if you're driving in manual. But I want to show you what happens once you turn on the car. So the first thing you'll notice is it's pretty quiet. Now, if I turn on the exhaust itself, now you have a more heavier thing, but listen to this. I mean, you ask me, pretty boring. Nothing too exciting, you know, pretty shitty kind of sounding car. Now, on the inside, you have all your gauges, very digitally new, etc. And then your screen, very nice. Everything flows smoothly like you would in a very usable car, which is what this is. It's very drivable on a day-to-day basis, which is very different from other Black Series cars. The only thing I want to point you to here, outside of my Iranian music, you know, that is very fire, like going on. This is Arash, by the way, make sure you check him out. But anyway, so one of the things you have here, which is very different, all of your buttons here light up and all your screens are here. That's the coolest part of the car. Everything here is basic shit, everything here is standard. You actually have a couple of things that you don't have in other cars, and I'm gonna turn it off to kind of point you out to this. The first thing is you have a glove compartment here, which is pretty cool. Secondly, you have storage here in the middle, which is pretty cool. Thirdly, you actually have a very, very nice trunk with a lot of space. And you see I already fucked that up. I scratched it because it's like junk when it comes to this plastic. You can see this. You see the plastic thing is just crap. So anyways, so you have this trunk and you can actually put a lot of stuff in it. But here's where this car really works and where it doesn't work. So I'm gonna point you to this very basic concept here. And it's the fact that I'm gonna open the trunk here so you can take a look at this. Look at this, you have a lot of room. Like, holy shit, look at how high this goes first off, so you gotta be careful not to hit things. You have a lot of room here to put a lot. And then here, if you look, you know, all carbon fiber, really exciting, very heavy because of the wing, but very, very exciting that you can use this car. And I think this is something that's very interesting here because this is a Black Series, and this is the first Black Series you can actually use. So what does that mean? So I've had the CLK63 Black, and I've had the SL65 Black Series. Both of which cars were really cool for what they were. The CLK63 was just, it was a great version of a really shitty car because the C63 and the CLK were junk. So the CLK63 Black Series was cool, but it was cheap shit. It was like poverty when it came to like why you had a Black Series. Then the SL65 was the coolest looking fucking car ever. It was incredibly wide, it was incredibly crazy, and it was nuts, right? Except that it drove like horse shit, meaning you could barely take it anywhere and you had to make a 14-point turn to get out of your own driveway, which was completely worthless. It was fast, but it was really slow, but it was fast, it didn't handle well. It was just a bizarre, fucking worthless 65 Mercedes that basically had a wide body kit. It was really bizarre and it just didn't work. Where this car really works is it takes the same extreme that made the Black Series a Black Series, and then it makes it usable and actually incredibly comfortable to drive. So you could take this on a long road trip, you could enjoy it, and you can open it the fuck up. I drove and did a fucking 90-degree turn at 60 miles an hour with one hand, and I didn't skid anywhere, which I thought was spectacular, and I thought it was very composed, and I still had coffee in the cup holder. That is where the Black Series really shine, is that it could be your only exotic. And it is much better looking than any Porsche out there. Like if I had to choose between a GT2 RS or this, I mean, fucking look at it. It's gloriously hot. And it's recognizable as crazy on the road, and it gets attention everywhere. So it does what it's intended to do. It enhances the experience in an AMG GT to this next level track car that's also very usable like the AMG. So it does a really good job on both fronts. Where I guess I'm just disappointed is that for $330,000, I guess you can see that Mercedes is not used to making very high-end cars, is they just recycled a whole bunch of shit from keys to seatbelts to everything else, and it doesn't provide you this feeling inside the car that you're about to have an incredible driving experience. Instead, it just gives you the feeling that you're just in an AMG GT with some carbon fiber. So to me, if I was going to say, would I spend $350 or $500K on this as my only car? Questionably, there is better cars on the road than this. But I will argue this. If you are going to put a Porsche in the garage, because here I have a lot of cars in my garage, so if I was going to add a Porsche to the collection, which I think is almost a need, you have to have a Porsche in your collection if you're a real car guy, then this provides a better alternative than the Porsche. It's much crazier looking. It's much hotter. I mean, look at this again. You're getting this like feel. It's just insane. And it drives better, and it is more usable than a Porsche because it's not just Porsche guys that are going to recognize it, and it has a lot more collectability and collector grade value than a Porsche. And historically, remember, Black Series cars are significantly higher than all other cars when it comes to resellability. So the SL65's gone up 100K over the last 6 months. You know, the CLK63 is up 200% over the last 6 months, and these cars are up over 200K over stickers. So you add that up, and it makes the AMG Black Series GT one of the best investments out there for the money currently. Now, The limited production means it'll keep going up. Even if it has a hiccup because we have an economical change, it's still going to keep going up. And it's an incredibly good looking car. So if you want a really good looking car and you've been considering the GT2 RS or GT3 RS, you need to be buying one of these because it's significantly better in much more ways than one. But if you have a 500K budget, a Performante, an STO, or a dozen other cars will do much more from fun factor than this car here. And so these are my thoughts on the AMG GT Black Series. Let me know what you think. Do you agree, disagree? You think I'm gay? I don't care. Just leave it in the comments. I mean, how can you think I'm gay? Look at this. You ever seen a body this sexy? Think about it. You ever seen this? Oh yeah. You never seen this. You see, show them, Reggie. Oh yeah. See, that's my excitement for Black Friday, and Reggie's like grooving with me. But listen, Black Friday is on now for Exotic Car Hacks. So click the link in the description, not to see my sexy ass, but actually how to learn how to buy cars like these at MSRP and so on and so forth, and actually turn, not just buying brand new cars and turning them into flips, but actually learning how to own exotic cars, not make mistakes owning them, and more importantly, learning how to get to them faster. It took me 10 years to get my first. It can take you 90 days with my course. We have hundreds of people that have done this. I mean, what am I saying, hundreds? We have 15,000 plus members. We have hundreds of people in the last 3 weeks that have done this. So you can too. So just stop dreaming about cars and start getting on this wagon. A lot of YouTubers that don't like me are using the same strategies. They're basically doing the same shit I teach them to do this, even though they don't like me. You know who you are out there. But anyways, listen, if you agree with me on the AMG GT or not, get in the comments and let me know. Do you think this is worth $500,000, which is what it sells for, or is it not worth the 500K and something out there is better? And what do you think is better? So like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll catch you next time. And again, don't forget, click the link. Black Friday is live now.